G'day guys, it's Bowden here from Falls Creek Flips. Thanks very much for watching and tuning in tonight. I just wanted to touch base about an error that I made / didn't make and the impact that it had on my eBay store. So we all know what INADs are, and if we don't, they're an item not as described. So that's when someone receives something and there's something wrong with it. It doesn't meet the description they were expecting. Now I had a pair of FootJoy golf shoes that I'd sold. They had 9W written on the tongue, and I just wrongly assumed that was a 9 women's. I'd sold it as such, and when it arrived to my buyer, they let me know that it was too big, it was incorrect, and I realized at that point that that meant that it was a 9 wide for men. So that started the process of they then wanted to return the shoes. That was the 18th of February. And I said, yeah, cool, not a problem. Happy for you to return it, that's fine, and I sent them a label. I then went through a period of a ridiculous drop in my sales value. So over the last 2 weeks, I've done less than $1,000 in sales. If you've been watching my channel, last Sunday I talked about the slowdown, and this Sunday I'm going to talk as well about how much it's slowed down. In fact, I'll bring up my spreadsheet just very quickly here. So for last week, I sold $394.85 worth of product. So it's less than $100 a day for a business day, and even less. The week before was $624.81. So together, I'm only just capping over $1,000 over the 2 weeks. That's a really big downturn for my sales. And I couldn't figure out why. And you'll see, I talk about it this Sunday. Obviously, I film my What Sold Sundays the week before, but this I'm just doing as is. And so I was so stuck, and I would put up a sale for 20% off. I was bumping my listings up to 10 listings a day again from 5. I was doing everything I could to figure out what was going on. But essentially because I'd made the mistake, but then I'd accepted for this item to be returned because I thought, well, it's a $50 shoe, I want to get it back. I got slammed by eBay. Now, should that be the way that it works? Should you get detrimentally affected if you recognize an error and request for something to be sent back so you can confirm that it's still in the same state? I don't think you should be. I don't think you should be throttled for that. But clearly I was, because on Monday, as soon as I got the shoes back, that afternoon when I got back to my office, I sent out the refund to the person. I confirmed that they were all good. The shoes, I sent out the refund, and by that night, I'd done more sales, dollar worth, than I'd done the whole week prior. It was just like the tap was just turned straight back on. And so far, like it's Thursday night, and Thursdays are pretty quiet for me, but I'm already over $700 in sales on Thursday, and I've still got Friday, Saturday, Sunday essentially in my arsenal of sales, which Saturday and Sunday are normally my biggest days. So it really then begs the question of, if I lost 2/3 of my sales a week, because I've been averaging somewhere between $1,200 and $1,600 a week in sales prior to that. If I lose 30% of my sales, am I better off just copying a $50 loss and making sure I'm still doing those sales? Or should we be encouraging people to go through the process of getting items back? This was the first item I've ever had returned. I've never had a return before, because most things I've had, item not as described requests, they've been games, and I just refund them. They're $5, $10 games kind of things. I've normally checked them, but for some reason, by the time they get to the end user, they're just not working. And that's fine. That happens sometimes. Their disk drive might not be as clean as mine or something. I don't know. But this was the first larger item. And so, yeah, it really did make me beg the question of, is it really worth going through the process of taking a return? And it's something I've had to consider, because essentially, like looking at the last week. So from the 19th I did $40 of sales. The 20th I did $200, which was a good day. The 21st I did no sales. The 22nd I did $100. 23rd was $20. The 24th was $45. The 25th was a Friday, so $100. The Saturday the 26th was $33. The Sunday the 37th was Sunday the 27th was $37, and then Monday I did $198 plus stuff that still needs to be paid. So I did almost $400 worth. I did $250 on Tuesday. I did $217 on Wednesday, and today I've done $130 so far. And I've still got 5 items that I'm awaiting payment on, which will equate to another $250. So it really does make me hesitant in the future to actually accept INADs. And probably fight a little bit harder for people to actually submit them. I probably would in future take the effort to contact eBay and say, well, I want some evidence that this is the case before I accept this or have it sent back. Because, I mean, realistically, like, if it takes 2 weeks for an item to get back, that's 2 weeks you're going to get throttled, which is what happened to me. It was only the fact that I triggered on the Sunday afternoon prior to the shoes arriving. I said to my wife, I think I know why everything's slow. And I explained what it was. And so we thought, well, let's just see what happens. And come Monday, as soon as I accepted the return and sent the refund, bang, just like that, sales came flooding in. So yeah, it's something to really consider, guys, whether or not you accept INADs, whether you actually take the return or if you just send a refund. It really will come down to the dollar value, where you're at in your sales. But I probably in future am not going to accept a return and will just refund people and say, look, out of the goodwill of my heart, here's the money, give them on. But then does that leave you open to be taken advantage of? And that's the question, you know, you've got to consider. Will people then go, oh, this seller will just, you know, cop it, pay you, and you get to keep it. So it's something you've really got to weigh up, and I will consider deeply before I accept my next return. So that's my little thing, guys. It really was frustrating, and I hope that this has given you guys some information. Yeah, it's really important to consider all the impacts prior to accepting a return, because like I say, this had a huge impact, and sadly, it was very negative. It came at a really tough time of when we were trying to pay our mortgage, and my wife hasn't got any money coming in. So to have my income coming in be reduced down by 2/3 was pretty significant. But it is what it is. That's the game that we play. But guys, thanks very much for listening. Leave a comment below as to how you've been affected by an INAD. It'd be nice to see if you've had a negative impact or if it hasn't impacted you before, or how you deal with returns. But otherwise, guys, as we always say, just keep flipping.